Okay, so I want to start by playing a game called Gestures. Some of you might be familiar with it, have heard of it, or played it. But it's like charades, and I want you all to guess the words that I'm acting out. There's no phrases. There's 4 cards here, 1 word per card. So it's not super complicated. There are about 30 seconds. There's a 30-second timer for all 4 cards, so that's about 7.5 seconds per card that you guys have to guess. So my rules are that I can't use any sounds or words. I can mouth any word I want except for the one that I'm acting out, and I can use any props around the room. I can point to anything, as long as I can get you to guess in the time limit. So all you have to do is guess and do your best. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Bar. Spoon. Flip. Not.
All right, good job. Okay. So in that exercise, what was the easiest way for you to guess the word I was trying to act?
Using props.
Okay, when I showed you the object, right? That was the most effective way for me to communicate, right? Okay, so this is what we're talking about, effective communication. Now in this classroom, the population that you teach is a special one. It's one that doesn't necessarily understand or use communication and language the same way that you and I do. In the mid-1980s, there were 2 people, Andrew Bondi and Lori Frost, who recognized the need to be able to communicate with a specific population of people. And so they developed a system to teach people with autism how to communicate. The system that they created, they called PECS, which stands for the Picture Exchange Communication System. Now I know that all of you to some degree use this program and are familiar with it because you use it in the classroom with a variety of different types of students, not just ones with autism. So this program was developed. The teaching and learning process is broken down into 6 phases, but it was developed with families and educators in mind so that it could be used in a variety of different settings. It's also received worldwide recognition for its focus on initiating communication, and it does not require anything complex or expensive materials. So in the 6 phases, the first one is how to communicate, and it's the basics. And it teaches a student to exchange one single picture for a desired activity or object. And you can see here, there's a very specific teaching style. It requires a communicative partner and a physical prompter. And the communicative partner is the one here in front of the student who is holding a picture, which is the PEC, and an object. And the physical prompter is the one that's holding his hand and physically manipulating him to do what they want in the learning process. And then phase 2 focuses on distance and persistence. So the student here will learn to use the communication skill with different people and in different situations. And they also want to learn the distance, use distance. What that means is that if, for example, a student is in one room and the parent is in another and they're at home, the student wants something, he'll grab his picture, go find his mom, and to initiate the conversation or the communication. So the focus here is really independence. And then phase 3 is picture discrimination. So this is where the student will make a choice between 2 or more pictures or objects or choices. And they will also use a communication book where all of their pictures and choices are in one place. And then phase 4 is sentence structure. So the way that this is taught, they start with the I want. the student will learn how to express what they need or what they want. And by the end of this phase, the goal is also to create more complex sentences with using adjectives, verbs, things like that. And phase 5 is answering questions. So this is built upon phase 4, and the questions that they will respond to is, what do you want? And they say, I want. And you can see here, this is an example of kind of a more complex sentence with 2 things that they want. And then finally, there is phase 6, which is commenting. So the idea here is that the student will recognize what's going on around them and be able to respond to questions such as, what do you hear? What do you see? Or what is that? So when this program was first developed, there was a concern that it would diminish the ability to learn verbal language. And actually what was found over the years is the exact opposite, that this program has enhanced the ability to learn verbal language. There is a mom who blogged about her experience with her son in the PEC program, and she explained that PECS is not simply an alternative form of communication, but it's supplemental, and so it goes along with learning the verbal language. So basically what happens is on the picture there is a word, the written word, there's the picture of the word, the written word, and then when you hand the word to the student, you'll also be saying the word. So they have 3 elements. And she also explains, backing up what I said, that there is evidence that shows that it enhances the ability to learn verbal speech. And she explained that her son no longer uses PECs, that when he started the program he was using them constantly, but it's helped him so much that he's very verbal, and although he's not as eloquent as, a preschooler, and he's older than a preschooler, that it has helped him a lot. He still does have access to it. It's in the same place underneath his bed if he needs it, but he is doing well. So as Ventura County Office of Education employees, you may be familiar with these goals. As a way to enhance the PEC program, there are things that you can do to enhance it by building, briefly touch on this one, by building trust. It says develop and maintain an organization based on trust and communication. We've already talked about communication, and so a great way to enhance communication is to build a relationship of trust. And I think that one of the best ways to do that is to gain perspective as best you can, to really try and understand what a student experiences and goes through on a daily basis. And one way that could help do that, I have a little video here. This was created by a girl named Carly, you may have heard of her, who has autism, and she was completely nonverbal growing up, and she figured out a way to communicate. One day she just started typing, and so she types to communicate. She's actually very articulate, and she also started creating videos to help people understand what it's like to be autistic. So
I can't wait for a coffee. Oh, hello, barista.
What do you guys want?
Skim soy latte? Taryn, soy can't be skim.
Hot chocolate, orange juice.
No, Dad, I want a coffee. Hot chocolate? Great.
So I was thinking of going to Sarah's later. Could you give me a ride?
Yeah, sure. Are you cool with taking your sister?
Yeah.
Wait, what? I have my own plan.
Arlene.
Okay, I'll see you tonight, okay?
Okay, so there is actually a lot to observe from this video, but there's two main things that you can see are happening. And the first one is that Carly is having all of these thoughts and things that she really wants to be able to communicate to her father and her sister, but just is not able to. And the second is that there is so much noise and distraction and things that's going on around her, and it almost seems heightened, that she can't even hear what her dad is saying to her, and he's only just a few feet away from her. And so with this perspective, I hope that you all can take the knowledge that you've learned, or some of you are more seasoned than others who have a lot more experience and have already been implementing these ideas into the way that you interact with students. But I hope that you can challenge your students to communicate at a level higher than they currently are with the knowledge that we have from the phases of the PEC system. Or at least be able to walk away from this presentation with a new, refreshed perspective and be able to use that to enhance your relationship with your students so that you can more effectively communicate with them. And with that, I would like to leave you with a quote that says, "To effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way that we perceive the world, and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others." Thank you.